Alright guys, time for another comic review, and this is the end of a trilogy that I did ass backwards. Today we're going to be talking about Batman TMNT 2. But wait a minute, I hear you say. Didn't you already review Batman Ninja Turtles 3? Why are you doing 3? And now finally you're doing 2. Well, it's because I found 3 and I couldn't find 2 anywhere until I finally managed to find it somewhere and order it offline and finally get it. So now I finally have all 4 Batman Ninja Turtle comics plus the DVD. So I have all the franchise, really. Yeah, so the Batman Ninja Turtles trilogy, as well as the TMNT Adventures crossover, and yeah, Batman vs. Ninja Turtles. I got all that, but yeah, the second book was literally the one thing I was having difficulty finding. So, finally managed to read it, and what did I think? So this one is written by James. Well, the plot's by James Tynion. The writing is done by Ryan Ferrier, who Ryan Ferrier has done a lot of good crossover books. He did the G.I. Joe vs. Bionic Man crossover, which I really enjoyed. There was also, he did the what I think is phenomenal Planet Kong on the Planet of the Apes crossover. And he's done a few others. He's done a few indie books a lot. But Ryan Ferrier, whenever I see his name attached to a crossover book, I'm like, okay, this guy knows his work. Because apparently Tynion did the dialogue. He did the plot and dialogue for issues 1 and 2. And then 3 through 6 were all Ryan Ferrier. And yes, we do have Freddie Williams II as our artist for the book. So this book takes place a few months after the events of Batman TMNT 1, where in that comic, basically what has happened is that the Shredder and Ra's al Ghul have both lost the support of both the Foot Clan and League of Shadows, respectively. And what's happening is there's a major power vacuum in both realities, and Bane is becoming the new leader of the League of Assassins. Meanwhile, Donatello, after getting humiliated, is like, I feel inferior, but maybe if I go talk to Batman, maybe I'll feel like a pep talk. Unfortunately, what happens is he's finagled it in a way that he's accidentally sent Bane into the Turtles universe. So now Batman and Robin, and subsequently later on Nightwing and Batgirl, all team up with the Ninja Turtles to stop Bane from unleashing, basically taking over the city of New York. So in the first one, it was basically the Turtles in Gotham. Now that we have Batman in New York. And this is pretty fun. I will say this is probably my favorite of the 3. I do think that the third book has a lot of fun Easter eggs, and I think it kind of piggybacks on we made it to a trilogy, and we're going to just throw shit at the wall and see what sticks. This one is a lot more like a logical crossover. I feel like if they did 3 first, everyone would be like, okay, you did way too much, way too soon. The sequel feels like this is the logical step in that, okay, here we go. Also, this is a little confusing to me because, Ra's talks about Bane in a way that, it makes him sound like he's never worked with Bane before, and I'm like, dude, you've worked with Bane a few times, and you even tried to get Talia to marry him. Okay, whatever. I guess this is its own continuity, because also they introduce Baxter Stockman and make him into a fly. So this is real, and it's also weird because it's like, yeah, so it's its own continuity, so what? But it's interesting to note that, they tried to shoehorn this in Batman continuity in Batman TMNT 1. So I'm kind of curious as to why I guess they decided midway, is like, fuck it, drop it. This is very Donatello-centric. Donnie is the focal point of the book, because again, and it's not a story we haven't done before with Donatello. It's in no way a story that we have not in any way, shape, or form haven't done yet with Donatello. He feels inadequate. He's not the strongest fighter. He depends more on his brain than anything else. And it's like, it's okay, Don. And I love this moment where Raphael, who's trying to build up Donnie, he's like, so what if he's not the best fighter? What if he's not what if he's the lamest out of the 4 of us? He's still our brother and we love him. And Donatello's just like, thank you for protecting me. So yeah, I do like that. It's also cool. It's always fun to see Bebop and Rocksteady. Let's be real. It's always fun to see good old Bebop and Rocksteady in here. And we get Mutagen Venom. We get a Mutagen version of Venom. The fight scenes are pretty fun. I do think that the fight scenes are a little better in here than they were the first one. I feel like the fight sequences in the first one were more like kind of short and also like kind of obscured. The one thing that bothered me was the fight between Batman and Shredder in the first comic, because that one is just panel, like a wall panel in the back, but it's obscured by just this dramatic scene of Batman and Shredder facing off. Thankfully, we got a legit fight out of this in the animated film. Here we get some good fights here and there, and it's kind of fun that, like, the first book was Shredder as the main villain, and now we have a Batman villain in a Batman villain as the big villain, and Bane's always fun to see. I think it wouldn't have worked if it was like Joker or something, although to be fair, they did use a Joker Shredder thing in the third book. Yeah. It is kind of fun when it's a Batman crossover that doesn't have Joker as the main focus. While we all love Joker, it is kind of like Batman's got other rogues too, and it's always fun to see them as the big threat. So having Bane in here as the big threat is pretty fun. Freddie Williams II's artwork is gorgeous to look at, but I do think he does have a problem with body posture. I think he has a problem with body, or like Bane is so inconsistent in his size most of the time. I know he's supposed to be like really roided out on this mutagen Venom, but sometimes he looks like he has a long neck, or like he just has like no neck and he's just walking around like this. It's kind of bothersome. So like there, like that's the thing that kind of bothers me, is like he makes all these big roided out characters in here, but at the same time, they're very, like, the body positioning and the body, like, postures are all kind of, like, just a little bit whack. Yeah. But it is gorgeous. Like, there is some straight-up gorgeous images in here, and when you know Freddie Williams II does a crossover of it, I feel like they just, whenever there's a crossover, Freddie Williams II is always the guy they want to go to. That's when you know you have at least a good crossover. At least you know when Freddie Williams is attached to the project, you know you're going to get a really good crossover out of it. I mean, I think he's been very, even though tongue-tied. Well, I do think Injustice, He-Man was just kind of for a crossover. Can't deny that He-Man Thundercats was awesome. And, of course, he's now doing the Godzilla Power Rangers crossover with Cullen Bunn. So he's always attached to the awesome projects. Anyway, I'm kind of hoping we get to see him do Power Rangers one day. I would love to see him do a Power Rangers crossover in some capacity. I also find it, just side note, I don't know why Damian has to go every 5 seconds in this book. I know that used to be his thing, but we've kind of grown past that, and Tinian or Farrier, whoever does it over. They really overdo it, the sound. Anyway, all in all, it's a great book. I think it was an excellent sequel to what was essentially a really good book. I feel like the family dynamic here is great, and Tinian understands that Batman's still a person at the end of the day. Anyway, so there you go, guys. That is pretty much my review for Batman TMNT 2. So you guys tell me in the comments below, what did you guys think of it? Comment below, let me know. Other than that, I'm Mr. Multiverse. I'll see you next time in the Multiverse.